Gangsters. I ain't gonna lie. It's 10 minutes late to my own life. Cray. It's okay though. Good thing we didn't have nobody waiting for us. About to hit the puck and go set up. Aaron's totally on the way here. So. Yeah. Keep it open. Cake by the ocean. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I've been bumping that recently. What's that word? Let me know if y'all know about Cake by the Ocean. If you do, you're a real one. Tis a beautiful day. Wow. Let's do it right now. Inhale. I was gonna close my eyes, but I'm walking, so exhale. Yo, what's poppin', gangsta? We're out here. We're on the way to the park now. We're about like a minute into there. We're gonna set up and then we're gonna get rocking. We're doing some deep breaths together right now. Join me. Inhale. I can't even fucking breathe because I'm breathing so shallowly. Fuck. All right, exhale. All right, let me get this one from the stomach for real. Inhale. Yeah, there we go. Exhale. That bitch was loud as fuck. I ain't gonna lie, bro's car is like beat. I'm not gonna lie. That was jacked up. All right, let's do one more together. Inhale. And exhale. All right. We've arrived. Look at these beautiful plants. Aren't these beautiful? Oh my gosh. Wow. Wowzers. Sheesh. Let's type jump in here. It's a few heads. All right. We're gonna be starting soon, gang. We're gonna be starting soon. About to go sit at the bench. You're gonna get Rockington. No, I'm not gonna lie. It's type hot out here. But, you know, it's that Georgia heat, baby. It's that Georgia heat. Alright. We have arrived. Let's get that thing down there. Ah, shit. There we go. I'm gonna take these shits off. The hell? I'm hot as the fuck, boy. Let's get some beverage going here. No protein today. Well, I just killed a shake earlier. He's got some water. Good old H2O. You know what I mean? Coolio. Alright. We're gonna do a couple of deep breaths with the eyes closed, and then we're gonna start it. And move this key. Alright, let's do these deep breaths together, alright? Let's close our eyes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more, and on an exhale, we'll open our eyes. Inhale. And exhale. Alrighty, Lydiana. So, today's live, we're going to be talking about creativity. What is creativity? We're going to be talking about how your creativity is blocked and how to unblock that creativity. Sounds lit. Let me get this out of here. Not sponsored, by the way. So, let's start off by talking about what is creativity. So in my opinion, creativity is basically just idea generation. So there's a two-step process to creation, right? So there's creativity and productivity. So we have creativity, which is ideation, like idea generation. I like to say creativity is going from 0 to 1, and productivity is the actualization of this idea. It's building upon it. It's going from 1 to 2, 5, 10, 100, infinity, theoretically. And so we have this initial spark, which is creativity, and then we have what we act upon that creativity, what we build, and that is our productivity. And so when it comes to creativity, it is a mental and a spiritual aspect. Creativity is mental and spiritual, and productivity is mental and physical, right? And so if our creativity is blocked, then it is most likely a mental or a spiritual block that is stopping us from being able to generate ideas, tap into our divinity. I don't know why I put that in quotes. I like to say that creativity is just God sending us signals. It's sending these ideas to us that we capture and then we execute on. But the thing is, when it comes to getting inspiration, when it comes to like the muse striking, if we don't execute when the muse comes, when we first get the idea, then typically it just fades away, right? We all have those times where something like comes into our head and it's like, holy shit, this is like so profound, someone needs to hear this, this could make $1 million or something. And then you get distracted and it's gone into the wind, never again. Never seen it again. Now you can go back to the archives, I like to say, and like really try to retrace your steps. What was I thinking about? What triggered this? What was like but it takes real, like, it might actually take you like 5 minutes. I've done this a few times where I've like literally sat there for like minutes at a time trying to remember that like spark. And this is why I carry around pocket journals, because if I have a spark, just write it down, right? Because the thing is, brains, right, the mind is for having ideas. It is not for holding them. And so we have ideas by receiving these signals that God is sending to us, but these signals won't just stay here, right? We have to capture them, write them down, or even better, execute on them. We have to actualize these ideas. And so when it comes to tapping more into our creativity, if creativity is mental and spiritual, then we need to see if we have any mental or spiritual blocks, and we need to deepen our mental and spiritual capacity, because that is how we get more ideas to come to us. The thing is, your creativity is unlimited. Creativity is merely like the first aspect of creation. And since creation is unlimited, then creativity must also be unlimited too. And so we all have access to this unlimited creativity, this unlimited flow that can come from us. But the thing that's getting in our way is these blocks. And so I like to say that we have physical, mental, and spiritual blocks. Physical blocks are very surface level friction things. They could be, you're writing for like 10 minutes and then you get a cramp in your hand, so you can't write anymore. Fair enough. Maybe you're maybe you're like hungry or drowsy, and so that's distracting you. That's pulling your focus from what you're trying to work on, right? So that's a physical block. It's something that is very surface level. Usually has to do with the body, and it's usually not something that is like super in our way from actually creating. We're usually just coping with physical blocks, right? These things can be tackled fairly easily. Now we have mental blocks. Mental blocks are a little more hard to get over, right? This medium level friction. A mental block could be something like poor focus due to fried dopamine because you've been watching content all the time. Your attention span is trash because you're on TikTok scrolling and shit. Right? It could be anxiety, right? Very nice neighborhood. Hey, appreciate you, dog. It's lovely here, right? It's beautiful. Yeah, like mental blocks could be something like focus or anxiety, something that is like actually in our head, something that's affecting our performance, affecting our capacity, and it's actually getting in the way of us executing, right? There's something in our head is like, oh man, I can't do this, or I'm not feeling this, or I can't be like, this can't happen right now, right? Whatever that is, mental blocks are harder to determine because they could be very close to spiritual blocks, but it's typically not something that is as deeply rooted as a spiritual block. So let's talk about the spiritual blocks, and then you'll kind of understand what I was saying about mental blocks. So spiritual blocks are attacks at the spirit. They're blocks that are blocking the spirit. And this really manifests in what Julia Cameron, who is the author of The Artist's Way, book that completely opened my eyes, changed my life. She likes to say that we suffer from artist abuse. And so when it comes to creating is an expression of the self. It's an expression of the creator. And so if we want to create authentically, we need to be able to express authentically. But if we can't express authentically, then we can't create authentically. And so if there's something like artist abuse, right, which is getting told that what you're doing is silly, oh, this is stupid, why would you want to be a creator, right? Or attacks at your authenticity, you can't be yourself, who you are isn't good enough, what you have isn't good enough. When our artist, right, which is how we tap into our creator, you know, our inner child is our most divinified, our most tapped in self, right? Because the inner child is pure, it is innocent. And this innocence is basically not being in separation. Not being in separation consciousness, not having a low self-worth, not having a damaged ego. And so if we have any of these things, if we have low self-worth, if we have a fear of expression, a fear of authenticity, if our walls are up because our conditioning has taught us that our walls need to be up, I've been there. If these things are happening, then our artist, our inner artist, our creator can't express. It can't let its true colors shine. And if your true colors can't shine, how can you create anything authentically? Creation is an expression of the self, and so anything we create must also reflect the self. But if the self doesn't feel worthy or doesn't feel loved or doesn't feel good enough, how can it express? How can the self express if it doesn't feel like it can? And so since creation is an expression, we can't create if we can't be ourselves. That is the biggest block that most of us face. That was a block that I faced for 10 years, long time. And I didn't overcome it until about the end of May, or maybe halfway through May, I'd say. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I want to talk about suppressing these things in you, like suppressing your will to create, suppressing your damage, like these painful experiences that you've gone through. I want to talk about suppression versus actually letting go. Because the thing is, if you want to be free from these blocks, free from these internal anchors that are keeping you from your infinite abundance, keeping you from your unlimited creativity, then you need to be able to identify where the blocks are and let them go. But oftentimes, when we have hard things that we've gone through, then when we're struggling, we often tend to suppress instead of feel and let these things go. We tend to push these things back to the back of our head instead of actually keeping them in the forefront, feeling these feelings, understanding why we feel this way. And so if you have programming that has been built up over years that says, okay, whenever something comes up that's painful, I just push it to the back, right? Let's turn to escapism instead. Let's distract ourselves. Let's not face what this is. If you're doing that, then you won't be able to identify, no, not that. You won't be able to see these anchors and actually feel them and let them go because your programming is just telling you to push down. And so instead of pushing down, we need to let them up. We need to let it up to the surface so we can feel these things, so we can process these things, and so we can let them go. For me, that looked a lot like not feeling good enough, not feeling loved, not feeling worthy. Let me tell you this about myself. So my parents have never been together my life. I'm actually the product of their last hookup. But I basically, I felt like how I received love was very, very conditional growing up. And so the thing is, like, my mom and my grandparents that I spent a lot of my time with, my mom's parents, none of them are super loving, super like emotional, super affectionate, right? It's not really like that for them. And I'm not knocking them. That's how they are. That's how they like grew up. But that meant that I didn't really receive that affection, receive that love that I needed, right? And I really only got that from my dad. But growing up up until about maybe 8 or 9, I really only spent like every other weekend with my dad. And even still, if he was even there, right? My dad was always working, hustling, you know, trying to provide for his family. And so I never really had that like feeling of unconditional love and affection like in the home all the time. And so I felt like if I wanted love, like if I wanted to receive, if I wanted to be able to feel and express and like be in myself, just be in my authenticity, I felt like that couldn't really happen unless I was with my dad, right? But at the same time, when it came to the relationships I had with my grandparents, let's say, it was mainly the way they really expressed and like the way I like received things from them was mainly through gifts, mainly through money or like when they would buy me things, right? They're very much like just providers, right? And so how they expressed was like, hey, you want this thing? You can have it, right? And although that was great and I was very grateful for those things, what I really needed was love, affection, right? I needed a hug, right? But I didn't really have those things from them. And a lot of the ways that I would receive gifts from them was when I would do well in school, right? I used to be a killer in school. I used to be a killer in school, and I used to like be in love with science and math class. And hey, Aaron's here. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. I'm spinning game, talking to the people. All right, so yeah, like growing up, I used to be like in love with science and math class, and so I always did really well in those classes. And history and English, weren't really my things. I didn't really care. So like I'd usually get like B's in those classes, right? And I would get A's in science and math. And so I'd bring my report cards home, right? And I'd be showing them to my grandmother. I'd be like, hey, yeah, this is what I did, right? This is lit. And it'd always be, yeah, that's really great, Jay. That's awesome. We're really proud of you. But you could do better, right? I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, I could if I gave a fuck. But like I didn't, right? And you know, every time it was just like every time is you could do better, you could do better, you could do better. And it's like I could, but at the same time it made me feel like that what I was giving, what I was doing wasn't enough. And so over years like that manifested into me feeling like, okay, well what I'm doing just isn't enough. So what's the point? And so I really felt like the way I was able to receive was extremely conditional. Right? And this is like something I've realized recently, which is why it's been like hard for me to like receive my own love for myself. And so when it comes to my expression, the things that were blocking me, it was the fact that like I felt like anything that like I had to like anything I made had to be amazing. Right? I was deep into perfectionism for a long time, and I didn't believe that like things that I could make would be good, would be seen as valuable, would be seen as cool, or you know, whatever. Because I'd constantly gotten that feedback of anytime you try, there's always more to do. There's always more to be better on. There's always, yeah, you could just be better, Jay. Right? And it's like, could I? Right? Because that was who I am. I felt like who I was wasn't enough. And so that manifested in my ability to create, my ability to express. And I, for a long time, just suppressed those negative thoughts, those negative emotions, right? Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't create. What I have isn't good. I'm not worthy, whatever. Where I just suppress those things with drugs, with alcohol, with women, with porn, with video games, with content, with food, like, name it. Like, I probably did it, right? And for years, I just down, back, right? I didn't let myself feel these things. I didn't let myself process these things until I got to freshman year of high school, and I was like, I was in Spanish class, and I was like, kind of just like, not there at all. I was like, just, there's presence. I was the opposite of presence in that class. And it was just like, mind was just completely racing, full on anxiety. And my teacher is just like, Jaden, are you okay? Because she'd been seeing me like this for the past few days. And I'm like, nope. And she asked me if I wanted to go like talk to the school's social worker. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, I'd try anything that isn't feeling like this. So I went and talked to her. Her name is Miss Mick, and Miss Mick has absolutely changed my life. Like I wouldn't be here right now without her. And so over high school, I really learned that a lot of these things that were struggling, like a lot of the things I was struggling with, were rooted in my relationships with my grandmother, with my dad and my mom. And because of that, they manifested into problems in relationships with women, problems with expressing myself, problems with escapism, right? And so I didn't really understand I didn't understand like the capacity. I didn't understand the capacity of like how much this was truly affecting me until I'd so I'll say this. So I like to say that I dated the same girl for 5 years, but it was 15 different girls. And on number 15, that's when I actually was like, oh, all of these women have been reflections of me, right? All of them had their walls up. All of them had issues with their parents, right? I was like, oh, this sounds like Jaden. But I didn't know that until I really had to take like a long, hard look in the mirror. And since then, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be like this anymore. Like I want to be better. I want to be me. You know, I'm tired of wearing a fucking mask all the time. I love the movie The Mask. I just love like the symbolism of that movie. You wear the mask so long that you become it. Most of us are the mask, right? Most of us feel like we can't express or we can't be ourselves. I've been there. But wearing and living from the mask, one, you're hiding your true self, which is everything. You know, being your true self is something we're all called to do. And if you don't feel like you can be that, then it won't matter. Like, what you're doing now, if you're not living authentically, you're probably suffering. Because authenticity is the root of divinity. If you know that you are divine, if you know that you are perfect, then why would you not want to be authentic? Why would you not want to just be yourself? But if you're in separation, if you've been blocked, if you've been tied, like if your relationship with your spirituality has been damaged, if your relationship with your inner artist has been damaged due to artist abuse, then you won't be able to tap into that divinity. You won't see that perfection. You won't be able to authentically express. And the thing is, no one wants to have an expression of a mask. No one wants that. People don't care about a mask. People care about the real, right? And so if you want to create, you need to create from here, from the heart, from the self. You don't look at what other people are doing and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do that. You can look to other people for inspiration. That's awesome, right? We all inspire each other. But at the end of the day, if you're not throwing your twist on something, it's not you, it's them. Nobody wants a copycat version of somebody else. You're never going to be as good as them at being them. No one will ever be as good as me at being me. Simple. And that's fine. Because no one should want to be Jaden. You should want to be you. No one will ever be as good as you at being you. No one can create what you can create. Because you are an individual. You are unique. Your mind-body-spirit complex is a unique expression of divine perfection. And that expression has things that it needs to share. And you know that you have things you need to share. You know that you have messages you want to share. You know you have things you want to create, but you're not creating them. Because you feel like you can't express. You feel like you can't be authentic. If you can't be authentic or express, how can you create something that's an expression of your authenticity? You can't. And so if you want to tackle your authenticity, if you want to feel like... Are you just taking my notes?
Do you need...
Yeah, I do need those.
You have something more about You do need it?
Yeah. If you feel like you can't express, if you feel like you can't be yourself, then you can't create. And so if you want to unblock these things that are getting in the way, you need to find these blocks and you need to uphold the root. You need to take them out. And so yesterday I was on a call with a real one. His name is Brendan. Much love, Brendan. Much love. And we had like a free coaching call. If you guys are interested, free coaching call, first link in the description. I'd love to help you guys out, identify your blocks, give you some action steps to unblocking, tap back into your unlimited creativity. I was talking to him and he was asking me about like, how do you know if you're suppressing something or if you've actually let it go? Because he had heard me mention forgiveness a few times, talking about how forgiveness is the ultimate tool of the alchemist, right? And he says that every time he hears me say forgiveness, his parents come up, right? He's like, oh, I should forgive my parents. And I told him, I was like, if it comes up, that means you haven't let it go. Right? Nothing is going to rise to nothing's going to rise to the surface if it's already gone. If you've already forgiven your parents truly, then hearing someone talk about forgiveness won't make you triggered and be like, oh, I need to forgive them. because you've already done it, right? And so if something is, if you just heard me talking about you know, for years I knew that these things were plaguing me. I've known this since freshman year of high school, right? For 5 years I knew that. But for 5 years I also told myself, no, I'm not going to talk to her. Oh no, what's the point? I already understand, so I don't need it. Obviously that was bullshit, because it was still affecting me, or I still couldn't create authentically. You know, I talked to my mom, I talked to my dad, I'd healed those relationships with them, but there was still something in my way. And I knew it too. And so I just had to get to the point where I was just like, am I gonna really allow myself to stay in this hole, to stay held back, simply because I'm too scared to have a conversation? Nah, I don't think so, right? Because at that point, it was really like a do or die moment. This was like a few days into my daily uploads, and I'm like, I'm not gonna keep this up if I don't let this go. It's just not gonna happen. And so, you know, I was just like, okay, I made the decision that I was gonna do it. And I asked God for strength. I did, because I felt like I wasn't strong enough to have that conversation alone, right? Because obviously, if it was for 5 years that I knew I had to do it, but I wasn't doing it, I felt like I didn't have the strength for it. So I asked God for strength. I asked God for understanding. I asked God to allow me the strength to say this and to feel these things that I knew were going to be heavy feelings. I asked for strength. And then, you know, I kind of sat around for like 5 minutes because I was still coping. But then I called her up. I called her up, and we had such a beautiful conversation talking about all these things that I was holding on to. And she had told me about like why she'd felt like that, why she had treated me that way, because of, you know, how she grew up and the relationship she had with her mother, who was much colder than my grandmother. And I'm not going to act like my grandmother's a terrible person. I love my grandmother. I love all my family. And they've all made me into who I am today, right? But that conversation was so freeing, because although I felt like I'd forgiven her to me, I felt like I'd forgiven her to God, I didn't actually let go because I didn't forgive her to her. And that was what I needed. That was what I actually needed to let go. And so I like to say that, like, forgiveness ain't for them. It's not. It's for you, right? Because you have something you're holding on to. You have pains. You have traumas. You have blocks. And the only way to let go of these blocks, these pains, these traumas, is to genuinely feel forgiven of them. Like I forgive you for hurting me. I forgive you for not understanding me. I forgive you for the pain you caused me, right? Because I understand that you were suffering. I understand that you only hurt me because you were hurting. When you understand someone, it's very hard to be angry. When you understand someone truly, it's very hard to not forgive. And so, if you want to let go of these blocks, forgive. Not for them, for you. And the powerful thing about forgiveness is that it really does work two ways. Because there could be, you know, maybe you were abused growing up, emotionally, physically, and your abuser is probably holding on to this torment as well. Like, there are moral consequences to hurting other people. And we store these things in ourselves. And so if you can forgive someone for what they did, you can allow them to forgive themselves as well. And that is beautiful. That is love. That is sharing love, spreading forgiveness. I like to say that forgiveness is the ultimate tool of the alchemist. Alchemy is about turning these things that seem like nothing, seem extremely painful, but turning them into something amazing. It's turning your wounds into gifts. It's turning your struggles into service, turning your pain into purpose, turning your lead into gold. If you can do these things, you can impact people, right? You can not only change your life, you can not only change the lives of the people you've forgiven, you can start helping other people change their lives as well, through the service, through the gifts, through the purpose, through the gold. All life is full of gold. All of it. Every single moment has been beautiful. It only seems like lead because you haven't shifted your perspective yet. And forgiveness helps you shift your perspective. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Probably. We're going to be ending up soon though. So, if you want to forgive, if you want to unblock your unlimited creativity, if you want to really start tapping back into that, you need to get to the root. You need to figure out who is this person or these people that cause these blocks. that cause my walls to go up, to cause me to feel like I can't express authentically, I can't create, I can't be vulnerable. Creating, expressing, being authentic, it's vulnerable. It takes strength. And if you feel like you're weak or you can't be strong, you can't create, you can't be authentic, you can't be vulnerable because someone showed you that you can't be that way, you're only going to conquer that if you forgive that person, if you let that fully go. So if you're interested in understanding thoughts, I'd love to help you out. The first link in the description, free coaching call with me. At the same time, I don't know if I can hear that. Also, if you're interested in finding out how to unblock your unlimited creativity, become a consistent and fulfilled creator, and use your skills to start building your online business, check out my Purposeful Productivity course. It's fourth link in the description. It's full of game. Aaron can attest to it.
Yes.
It's very, very good.
You want me to share my experience?
Yeah,
with
go
it?
ahead.
So I don't know if you can hear me, but my experience with the course is that it feels really personal. If you've never booked a call with Jaden, go book it so you can kind of tap into how it feels. But the Purposeful Productivity course allows you to really feel like you're with him the whole time, and he just gives you so much game. Like, if you're not able to afford his full thing, I definitely recommend you doing the Purposeful Productivity because it's life-changing. It gets you started, it actually gets you moving. It allows you to also see that you can move. A lot of creators, they can't move because they really feel like in their head that they can't. And yeah, he just makes you feel like you can really do it because you really can. You've always been able to, and it's so personal, it's so in-depth, it's so detailed. Definitely get the course. It's really like the starter kit to creation, and the starter kit to really enjoying and loving creation.
Lydiana, thanks for the testimonial, my love. So yeah, guys, that's the Purposeful Productivity course. The course is actually also available in my group coaching cohort. So if you guys want to join there, it's actually the exact same price, but you also get group coaching with me. So kind of a steal if you ask me. That's the third link in the description. That's Digital Renaissance Creators. Come join there, check it out. Check out the page. I'd love to have you, okay? That's the lecture, guys. If you guys got any questions, I'd love to hear them. We're going to be wrapping up soon because these guys are doing work. So if you guys got any questions, we're going to stick around for 5 to 10 minutes. Drop in the chat. Any questions at all? I'd love to ask them. If you got any questions for Erin, she'll answer them too. Water. Tuesday around 12:30. It's good to know when you guys know. So I'm not recording.
Or stop at 12:30.
Wow, the clouds. I have a creative block for over 10 years. Yeah, I was the same way. Style. Yeah, I was the same way, Style. It's real. Because of your dad.
Honestly, it's so crazy because once you forgive your parents, you can do anything. Like, once you get past your parents, the world is yours. So just knowing that allowed me to do it much faster. For me, it was my mom. And yeah, you have to forgive. And it's not really, like he mentioned, it's not really about them. It's really about for you. And to not dim your light into the world because of that. Because for me, once I realized that this was preventing me from really showing my light forgiveness, it made me want to do it sooner, and it literally happened like within 24 hours almost. And it doesn't feel good. I'm going to go ahead and let you know now, it does not feel good, but you're going to feel amazing afterwards. And this is just a part of the process.
Suffer now, be free later. For real. Hey, stop. I really...
Be free forever. Suffer now, be free forever.
How to do it. How to forgive. I do love him. He's already passed. Oh, man. I'm really sorry to hear that, Stav.
May you rest in peace.
Honestly, I'd love to talk to you, Stav. Let's hop on a call with me. If you're interested, come book a free call with me. It's the first link in the description. I can't really do much, like, talking to you through, like, words, like, comments, like that. I'd really love to hear what you have to say. And I'd be better if I could actually talk to you one-to-one, okay?
It's gonna be a very intimate experience, and he can it's gonna be beautiful. So definitely link in the description. Do it right now. It'll still be here after, but definitely do it right now.
Guys, got any questions? Make sure you drop them. We're gonna be ending up the stream soon because it's mad loud here. If you guys got any questions, make sure you drop them. I'd love to answer them. If not, we're going to be having up in a couple of minutes. Like,
Okay. Did you have a different color or something?
nah, this is actually my dad's. Mine, remember, because like mine lid had like busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just stole my dad's. Yeah. You know, use it.
One way or another, I wanna get
I'm gonna get you. I'll 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 get you.
Yeah, I'm really here with you there. They're not saying nothing to you, but are you gonna wait one?
I don't know. I'm just giving like another minute.
Shaden.
Hey,
Didn't he cook her now?
I think. Okie doke. Seems like we got no questions. I appreciate you guys for popping out to the live. It means a lot. All the love, all the support. It means everything to me. Make sure you guys check out my free coaching code if you want. First link description. I'd love to have you. I don't really feel like CTAing anything. If you want to work with me, look in the description and see what you're interested in.
Simple. We love you so much.
Love you guys. All the support means a lot. Do it today. Better for it tomorrow. Catch y'all next live. Thumbs out.